If you were trying to decide between Semrush and Ahrefs, I'm going to go through how I use each tool. I'm going to give a brief overview of some of the key features and use cases and walk through just all the ways I use both tools to help your decision on which tool you should go with. We'll start by analyzing Site Explorer in Ahrefs and then Domain overview in Semrush. These tools are fairly equivalent in terms of kind of what you're going to use them for and the data they provide. So in Ahrefs, when you want to analyze a domain, we'll put in this storage website called Sparefoot here for the example. You'll enter in any domain. This could be your website. It could be a competitor's website. You can put in any website in either of these tools and it'll return some information and data points about that website. Typically what I use here are the domain authority or domain rating metric. So you'll see Ahrefs has their domain rating metric here. Semrush has their version, which is called authority score. Again, everybody calculates this slightly different and they have their own scoring. So you don't necessarily want to compare this number in Ahrefs versus this number in Semrush. You want to pick one tool and just stick with that. The tool you actually use doesn't really matter here. You just want to make sure it's equivalent and you're comparing the same thing. Then you'll get stats on backlinks. So we'll see how many backlinks this website has and then how many websites or referring domains are providing those backlinks. So there's about 5,000 websites linking to this one. If we go over here, we'll see the same thing. We'll see backlinks and referring domains. Again, it looks like in this case, Semrush is pulling in more data here. There's about 15,000 referring domains and 152,000 backlinks. And you could see Ahrefs has more backlinks, but lower referring domains in this case. So you could always analyze each tool, but a lot of times it's not worth the effort. It's usually good enough just to pick a tool and stick with it and stay with that consistent data. You'll also get keywords and organic traffic estimates in both tools. So keywords will be the number of keywords each website ranks for. So we could see in Ahrefs, and if we jump over here, we'll see right here the keyword metric in Semrush. Both of those numbers look pretty equivalent. Semrush, again, looks to be a little bit higher at about 176,000 keywords. Then we'll have organic traffic estimates. So we can see about 170,000 in Semrush and then about 278,000 in Ahrefs. Now, if you hover here next to the metrics, you can see the definitions. Usually the way they get these search volume numbers is they take search volume and then take your current position or your ranking. And usually, depending on where you're ranking, they'll give you a certain percentage or click-through rate of the search volume and kind of project out where your traffic might be. Again, this number is not going to match up with your Google Analytics, but it's more when you are looking at competitor websites, you don't have access to their actual analytics. So this is the best data that you can get to kind of get a feel for who has the most traffic and the most keyword rankings. You'll also see paid search estimates here. Again, these will show number of keywords the website's bidding on, approximate amount of traffic. Traffic costs also factors in the cost per click. And if we look at Semrush, we'll get a similar thing. If we scroll down, we could see advertising research, which again has their exact paid keywords, which we'll look at in a second. We have ad copy reporting here and a few other things. But in terms of the metrics, we have right here similar paid search traffic and keywords. So in terms of like overall data points, you'll see both tools has very similar metrics, just the underlying data slightly different. What I really like though is analyzing the trends. So in Ahrefs, in this section here, you can control date ranges and you could change metrics to see how things are trending. So right now we're looking at average organic traffic. I really like that they added this daily, weekly, monthly. I'll usually look at this monthly and I might extend this out to 2 years and I can quickly see what the trend is of this website. So this website was trending up until about 2023. And since then there's been a steady decline and we can see that decline's happening in organic traffic, but it's also happening with first page keyword rankings. So in this report, I can actually select different keywords ranking in different ranges. Right now it's selected to the first page, 1 to top 3 and 4 to 10. I could also see page 2 keywords here and see how that's trending. So it gives a lot of flexibility to analyze a competitor website. And Semrush has the same underlying feature here. You have a daily and a monthly toggle. And then you could also change date ranges here and see organic traffic and paid traffic in one chart. And then you could see same kind of criteria. You could select certain things that you want to see, and we might want to see just the trend of the first page, and actually see a very similar trend in both tools, where in 2023 things peaked, and since then there's been a little bit of a downtrend. So both of these trend charts are really helpful when you're analyzing a website. I don't use these a whole lot. There's some additional competitor data they're pulling in. Really, I use this snapshot at the top and then these trend charts here. But you also get some backlink metrics that you can see on the right here in terms of URL authority or domain authority, how many links you have at different tiers, at least for this website. It can be helpful when you're analyzing a website to understand how competitive their backlink profile is. And we can also see a breakdown of traffic by country. If I jump back over to here, we can see, again, similar thing. We have our country breakdown. You could switch from organic to paid. And then if we want to go down to backlink trends, we also have down here some data on backlinks, just like we did in Ahrefs, referring domains, a few different metrics. Now, those are kind of some of the main features. Again, there's more data here you could look at, but that's really the main thing I do at the site level. Then we'll look at Keyword Explorer for Ahrefs and Keyword Overview for Semrush. So we'll type in just self-storage. So with both of these tools, typically what you want to do is put in a seed keyword that you're trying to analyze. And this will give you some helpful data on that keyword, and it'll also give you other ideas and suggestions. So if we look at this broad keyword here, I like to start broad and then refine as I go. We can start to see how difficult the keyword is. This is usually a gauge of how many backlinks you need. What I like that Ahrefs added is the search volume by month trend. And then they have this forecast of where they think the search volume is going to go in the next few months ahead. Traffic potential is a nice metric. It's factoring in click-through rate on like how much traffic you can actually get, but also adding in related terms. A lot of times you're not just going to rank for one keyword. You're typically going to rank for multiple keywords, and then the search volume starts to add up when you start adding additional keywords that you can also rank for. So they're giving you that here, and they're breaking it down by country. And then in this section, you're getting the keyword ideas. So keyword ideas is one of the most helpful reports. This is going to show you all different keywords that have the word self-storage in it. And whatever seed keyword you put in, you'll get results. And there's also questions that people are asking in the search volume and a few other metrics. But these first two tend to be the ones I use the most. If we go over to, and if I click this here, this is what it looks like when I click into those related terms. So again, I'm getting all these different keywords. This categorization on the left is pretty helpful. If you see a certain word here that you know is important, like let's say like auctions, let's say that's something we cared about, it'll now filter it and only show me the keywords with the word auctions in it. It can be really helpful when you're sifting through a lot of data. Like in this case, we have 67,000 keywords. So these filters are going to be really important to finding the keywords and the data that I want. So these categories on the left are very helpful. I also really like these filters at the top. So typically the filters I'm going to use, depending on the site, keyword difficulty can be a really helpful one. I might say I want to only go 0 to 30. So I want to try to find lower difficulty keywords. And just refresh this. Let's see. Of course, as we're filming this, for some reason, we got an error here. Let's see if we can get back to Ahrefs. There we go. So try that again. We'll go here, and then we're going to apply a keyword difficulty filter. So let's do 0 to 30. And then what I also like to do is this lowest DR. So you can say you want to only see keywords where there's a domain rating equivalent to yours. So and either in the top 5, if you want to be more strict, do top 5. If you want to be a little bit looser, like let's say you're not getting enough keywords, you might do top 10. But I'm going to do top 5. And let's assume my website has a 30 domain authority. So it's only going to show me keywords where there's another website with the same domain authority as me in the top 5 in this case. So we still have 7,000 keywords, which is interesting here. The next thing you might want to do is maybe add in certain volume filters. Maybe you only want keywords over 500 search volume. So I might do something like this. And then now you can see we're starting to narrow down the list of keywords that we might want to target. Again, in this case, we're getting a lot of brand names of other facilities. So this wouldn't necessarily be keywords we want to target, but this can help you filter based on metrics. And then once you're filtering based on these metrics, then the next thing is to look through this and actually figure out the keywords that are relevant to what you do. But this can help you find some low difficulty keywords. that could be worth targeting. Now, I also really like the SERP features. One, you can identify keywords that have certain SERP features that you might want to target. Like let's say you're creating YouTube videos, you might want to target video packs. And I can click this, and now it's only going to show me keywords that have a video pack. And this could be really helpful to inform video ideas in addition to just your normal kind of SEO keywords. So really helpful. You can also include and exclude by certain words in the keywords, which can help you narrow things down. But really utilizing these filters are going to be the way you can really sift through the data and find the most valuable keywords. Now in Semrush, you can do very similar things. One thing I like about Semrush here, if we go to keyword overview, is they have this new AI powered feature where you can put your domain in and it'll give you personalized keyword difficulty, which is based on your topical authority. So it's pretty cool. Again, I don't use that a ton. It's still a newer feature, but it's nice to kind of see, especially for clients, when I'm working with a new client, I can just quickly see if it's more or less difficult than Semrush would normally say to rank for certain keywords. One thing I really like that Semrush has that Ahrefs doesn't is just this intent classification. They'll classify things as commercial or informational or give you basically the intent behind the keyword automatically, where normally this is something I have to do manually. So this does save some time, and it's a nice addition that they have in this interface. So you'll also see search volume trends here. And then very similarly, you'll have your keyword variations, your question-based keywords here. And there is a topic and a pillar section here as well that Semrush has. If we scroll down, I didn't look at this in Ahrefs, but this is another very important feature is actually seeing the top 10 search results for this keyword and then getting some data points behind each website. So I can quickly see how many referring domains each website has, what their authority is, other keywords that these websites rank for, which is really helpful. If I click on this, it'll show me the other keywords this page is ranking for, which is a great way to find other keyword ideas. Now, if we go back to Ahrefs for a second, if I scroll all the way down, we have the same thing here. So I have the top 10, and then I have some key data points here on authority, backlinks, how much traffic each website's getting. And then I could even click in again, same way here, and get the number of keywords that are on the first page and what specific keywords this website's ranking for. So very useful using that section. Now, if we go to the Semrush keyword magic tool here, once I click in and see these related terms, you'll see very similar options in terms of filtering capability. I can filter by difficulty. We can filter by intent here in this case, which is kind of a nice addition that you have in Semrush. Include and exclude are going to be really important if there's certain words you don't want to target or certain words you definitely want to target. Then you also have this navigation on the left by topic. So again, if you see a topic here or word that stands out to you, you can click this and immediately filter the keywords based on this topic you selected. So very similar functionality, but it can be really beneficial when you're kind of sifting through large amounts of data here. They'll even give you total search volume at the top for the filters you've applied. So really both tools will get you very far in terms of finding the keywords that are available in your market. And then the key is using these filters to drill into the keywords and really trying to find the most important ones to you based on the metrics you care about. Ultimately, the metrics are great, but really what it always is going to come down to is using your own analysis to determine which keywords are important to your business. And that could be informational keywords, but it could also be keywords where someone's actually evaluating the service or solution that you provide. So understanding that is going to be most critical. And then using the metrics almost as a tiebreaker is kind of the way I typically do it. But if you're working with a new website or they're just getting started with SEO, the difficulty scores can be helpful just to give a rough gauge of what's realistic to target in the short term. Again, it's not perfect. Sometimes you can rank for a high difficulty term quickly, or sometimes a lower difficulty one takes longer, but it's a way to just use some data to back up some of your recommendations. All right, so now we're going to compare both site audit tools. So each tool, Ahrefs and Semrush, have technical audit tools that'll give some recommendations on where you can improve technically, and they'll both crawl your website and analyze and give a bunch of data that you can use. So if we look at both tools here, they each have an overview report, which will give you kind of like an overall health score, which is sometimes helpful to show clients. You can show like changes over time, what their score is. Then they'll break down issues in different ways. So kind of like larger issues, higher priority errors, warnings, and notices. And you can get the definitions on each of these. And SEMrush does it very similarly. And you can see if you hover over the I here, you can get the actual definition of each metric. So you'll see they give you the score and then a breakdown of issues. Now, SEMrush also has specific scores for different aspects of technical SEO that can be helpful. So again, this is just a kind of a nice overview screen that you could send to clients as an initial kind of dashboard and attach to your audits. I don't like to just send this automated screen and just send the PDFs directly from these tools. I like to take some screenshots of some of the charts, but then give your own analysis and your own context on what the client actually needs to do. Or if you're not working with the client, if it's your own website, then you just need to dig into the issues and figure out what they are and what you can do. So if I click on errors here, this is going to bring me to the report where you'll see what the errors are. Then in this menu, I can also look at what the warnings are and what the notices are. And then as I'm looking to figure out what to do, SEMrush has these helpful features that'll actually tell you what the issue is and what you need to do about it. So if you're not sure what one of these things are, you can click this and then dig into what you need to do. Now, again, everything listed in here is not necessarily something you actually need to change. So you really want to analyze, and this is where just some experience and some time doing SEO come in, of which of these are actually going to move the needle and worth doing, and which of these are actually preventing us from ranking well versus what's something that's showing up as an issue or an error, but really not something you need to spend time on. But this gives you a big jump start of some of the things to look at that could be holding back your website. One tool in Ahrefs I really like that's a little bit buried is this internal link opportunity. So inside of the technical audit, if I click on this, this is going to show me easy internal links that I can add. So the way it works is it looks for keywords that you're ranking for. So in this article, I'm ranking in position 4 for GA4 audit. And then in this page, I actually mentioned the term GA4 audit. So I can go into this page and easily add an internal link to this target page. So it maps all of that out really well. Same thing in this one. In this article, I mentioned small business SEO, and then I actually have a blog post that's ranking for that term. So the more content and the more data you have, the more that'll show up here. But it's a really nice way to get an internal link report that you can instantly figure out easy internal links to add. These internal links, you don't have to change the copy. The keywords you've already used in other articles. So it makes it really easy and quickly to find internal link opportunities. So I really like this one. Again, you could dig into these different category level reports as well, just like you can in SEMrush here. So that's the main thing for the technical audit tools. Now there's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of other features, but at a high level, very similar. Then we have rank tracking. So both tools will offer position tracking. Setup is pretty easy. You just input your keywords, you input everything you want to track. But in terms of reporting, you can start to see some of the data here. So they give overall scores. So I'm looking at a short time period, but let's do like past 60 days. And they're going to give me visibility, estimated traffic, average position. So how I'm trending basically over this time period. So I'm trending down a little bit. This is kind of something I've been seeing a little more of here where they're actually giving some kind of analysis here in SEMrush. Ahrefs is going to give you the raw data here. And again, same thing. I have a few different metrics trended out, my average position, traffic. I like these position breakdowns that show how many keywords I have at different ranges of the first page. So in the top 3, I have 1. On the bottom of the first page, I have 13. And then I can see the next level down. SEMrush also has that here. So how many keywords are in the top 3, how many are in the top 10, top 20, and then the trends over time. So there's quite a few different things. If I had tags set up, those would be here. I believe I have some tags here. Okay, I'm just using one tag, storage, in this one. Actually, no, I do have a couple. So if we look at a tag report, it's just going to aggregate your data. So if you have different types of keywords, you could summarize all of them into tags and see how you're trending overall. Like related to storage, how many keywords do I have in the top 10? Page 2 and so on. And then for senior living, I can see the same thing. I have 5 on page 2 and 4 in that like 3 to 5 range. So it's a nice feature to use, and you could categorize your keywords in a lot of different ways, but it unlocks a little bit more reporting if you set that up. And then one of the main reports is just this top keywords one. and if I scroll down in Ahrefs, I'll see it here. This is just going to show all the keywords I'm tracking and then what's going on with my rankings. Where am I ranking? What's the change been? I really like this. I can quickly see like an overview of the search results for each keyword. So here we have, and here we can see where we're ranking right here. And then what I like about this is I can quickly compare my data. So we could start to see like, okay, I am on the first page and with the lowest domain authority. You can see all the other competitors, even some of the ones I'm ahead of, have much higher domain authorities. So that's probably something I need to work on long term. The number one result is not that far ahead in terms of domain authority, which is actually a good sign. I can see how many backlinks and referring domains each website has. So it gives you a lot of good data to analyze the keyword to try to figure out what else you need to do. So you can see all that here. If we go flip back to Semrush, again, I have individual keywords here. I could see some trends. This keyword I've been steadily in position 1 on, and I could see some of that here. Again, you could use some filters and do some different things up in the top here. There's also more reporting. This tends to be the main report I look at, so I could see how my rankings are changing. But you can also look at some of these and see your top 3, top 10, top 20, different things there. If I had tags set up, there's a tag report. You can see, again, break it down by page instead of by keyword. A variety of different reports here that you can look at. I really like adding competitors into both tools because then you could actually track, and I don't know that I have any in this one. Let's see. Yeah, so those can be added, and actually let's look at this here. So yeah, so we can see other websites that are targeting these self-storage keywords. And what's cool about this is you can see how you can compare to these. So you can make these specific to your business and actual competitors that you have, or you can make it just websites that are targeting similar keywords. And you can see how everybody's trending. So in this case, I had a pretty big jump up in average position. A lot of the other websites remain flat for the most part, except this one, which also had a pretty big jump up. So you can see if there's anyone else putting a big effort into improving. You could see who has the most top 3 keywords, the most 4 to 10, what the changes are. So it's just a nice way to see how you stand versus some competitors. And then this is pretty cool as well. You can get a grid of all the competitors and where they're ranking for each keyword and your own website. So you can just quickly compare how you're doing versus competitors. So in Semrush, you could do similar things, and you could break that down here as well. So those are kind of the core features that I use, and there's way more than this. Like you can go, if you look at Ahrefs, I went through some of the core tools. I didn't go into Content Explorer, this competitive analysis. Semrush has tons of other tools here. Keyword gap and backlink gap, I think, are worth noting. I really like these. So we're both of these, and both tools have these. You can add yourself and a bunch of your competitors, and it'll show you all the keywords your competitors are ranking for that you're not ranking for. And same thing with backlink gap. It'll show you all the backlinks your competitors have that you don't have. It's a really good way to find backlink opportunities and new content ideas. In Ahrefs, they have a very similar tool. They have content gap, and then they have link intersect, which is essentially their backlink gap tool. The one thing I like about Ahrefs better in this case is they let you go up to 10 websites. So I can add 10 different websites in the backlink gap and the content gap, where in Semrush, I can only add 5. Again, not the end of the world. 5 total websites allows you to do some decent analysis, and you could always run this report a couple times. But having the ability to do 10 is nice if you want a bigger set of data. So another tool, I really like both of those, especially when I'm auditing a website. And again, there's a lot more tools that both of these softwares provide, but those are kind of the core things I do. I use Site Explorer to analyze a website quickly. You could put in any website there, whether it's your website or a competing website, or just a website you want to learn what they're doing. Great way to get initial data. Keyword Explorer in Ahrefs, or Keyword Overview and Keyword Magic in Semrush will allow you to find keyword ideas and complete your keyword research process. And then the site audit and the rank tracker are kind of good, like monthly things to run just to see what's changing. Are your rankings going up? Is there any technical issues being introduced? And just have that running in an automated way. Typically with these site audits, I just look at it on a monthly basis to see if there's any big change, which there normally shouldn't be. If for some reason my site health went down 10% or up, it would be a cause to investigate why. And you could do that in either tool. So overall, Both tools are going to allow you to do pretty much everything you need in an all-around SEO tool. It mostly comes down to preference. Once you get used to one of these tools, it's hard to switch because you can find data quickly and it's easy to access things. But both tools have done a good job of releasing similar features and similar tools. So there's just some small nuances. Really, the main thing is to pick one and just use it and actually use it, analyze the data. And that's really the key. These tools are providing data that allow you to make decisions and make adjustments and figure out what you need to do. And they'll do some of the analysis for you, but ultimately you need to take that data and fit it into your own system and process.